I'm going to be finally changing out these springs for these TruHart lowering springs. These are the fronts, these are the rears, and they have a code, and that R stands for rear, I'm assuming, because that's not a right, because that one says R also. So both of these say R, these say F. But yeah, so hopefully I don't mix this up. So yeah, I'm gonna be putting it on here, and what I currently have on here, well, it's what my brother had. Yeah, you definitely can't see in there. I have coilover sleeves. These were the coilover sleeves that I had on my 96 Integra RS, which was like close to a 1.9 liter LS VTEC, and it got smashed, totaled. So these are those suspension springs and sleeves, and this one has like a Tokigo blue, and that one has yeah, Tokigo blue. I thought they were mismatched, but yeah, but that side is these are Tokigo blues in the back, and I have regular shocks that I'm just gonna put because I don't think these are that good. So I'm just gonna end up putting two shocks, pair it up with these two springs, put it in the back, see how it is. Hopefully it's not too slammed, because the lower control arm hits the exhaust and that won't be good. So I'm gonna be working in the front first and get that squared away. So let me take off the wheels, we can check out the griminess. So let's open it, try not to. Alright, so by the way, I've been working on the front bumper. This is almost ready to be primered and painted, so look out for that. It's going to be another cool video from Era Paints, and it's really going to match the paint because I'm going to try and do a blend, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so these struts right here are pretty good. They dampen pretty dang good over bumps and speed bumps and stuff like that, so I'm not going to be swapping these out, but the back ones I am. So yeah, I'm just gonna take everything off, clean it up real nice, and put those shiny new springs, and let's see how it looks. So let's check out the stance before, we'll check it out after. Obviously these are sleeves, and I had to raise it up because the car was just too slammed. My brother liked this car very low with these wheels. So I'm hoping to get at least this ride height, possibly a little bit lower, but hopefully it's not too slammed, hopefully it's not too tall. So that's the stance right now. Well, yeah, so let's take off the wheel and get started. Alright, so these are the rear struts that I'm going to use, and yeah, they look grimy, I know what you're saying, but if they function just fine, it's okay. Yeah, so these are the ones that are going to get thrown on, and these are for the DA. So yeah. Alright, so what kind of sucks about these wheels is that if you get too close, you kind of rub against it with the socket. But these things are thrashed anyways. Alright. Well, look what I found. Worst enemy ever. Grease everywhere. Let's see. Yep, that's split. So now that's another problem. So now I have a CV boot, rotors, pads. Now I'm finally putting the springs. These outer tie rods are new, so kind of fortunate with that. And I believe the inner tie rods are new, so that's kind of cool. It's got like a rebuilt steering, but yeah, that kind of sucks. So probably just gonna get some AutoZone specials for this. I don't really do that hard of driving anyways. This is just a little cruiser on the city and the beach. But yeah, so I think that'll be good enough. So now it's time to pull it off. These are the sleeves right here. And yeah, these things are pretty not so good. I mean, they work for what they are, but these things are like $25 on eBay. So yeah, so gonna try and upgrade a little bit the ride quality, and we'll see how that goes. So look at the size of that spring with this right here, so should be good. Alright guys, so there it is. I know I'm already gonna get pretty dirty on this one. This car is not my RSX. This thing's a whole different grease ball. So that's basically what you're working with. Now I'm gonna get one of these. That looks kind of cool. We'll see how that goes. Now, I'm not going to be talking about all this stuff and, you know, the fork and all that, because, I mean, you guys already know how this goes. This is the most common chassis, this one, the Civics, and, you know, all the 90s and late 80s Hondas, just all, you know, people have done it already, so I'm not going to really get into detail with it. So let's put this on. Got to clean my hands, and I'm gonna probably clean this because it's kind of grimy and crusty, so can't wait to pull this off. And just to let you guys know, this suspension basically fell out the car because everything was loose, grimy, and I can't make this up, but I didn't untighten this. This is not untightened. That's the way it was. So this is like just very heartbreaking because my brother had this car for almost 8 years, and you know, he converted to OBD1. He washed it, he waxed the base coat because it no longer had clear, but he just didn't do anything with it. Just you know, money problems, mental issues, just you know, the mind goes bad, you know. So just doing this, it sucks working on this car. You see that green paint? You want to know why that's painted? Because the brakes were painted green. Everything was painted green. They were just risers, and you know, he kind of brought the car back, but it just sucks to be doing this, you know. Trash, disintegration, trash. So there we go. That's exactly what I need. These are good, functioning. I'm gonna clean this up and put everything together. Let me check under here quick. Yeah, these seats seem pretty good. All right, so there's not gonna be any metal on metal action. So I just gave it a quick little clean. That's ready to go. And Honda right there. But yeah, so gonna clean up this right here. I have some degreaser. Clean it up real nice. Just, you know, it's the least I can do. I have a bump stop, but I'm not gonna be using it because I have those for the rear. And I'll probably end up just putting this just for a little protection. But in the front, I noticed that it doesn't really bottom out, but the rears end up, you know, if there's some type of hole, I mean a pothole, boom, there goes the wheel, and that's what ends up slapping. So from personal experience, so yeah, so I'm just gonna throw this together. Alright guys, so I'm not even sure if I'm gonna even use this. That's just garbage. This is just gonna end up making a bigger mess with all that grease, so just gonna wing it. This here, sure that sits within there. Everything looks pretty dang good. So gonna throw the top hat, throw it on, let's see how it looks. All right, so got it in right there. That's all matched up right there. It's got nice preload too, so that's something I really like. It has good spacing between here, so it's gonna flex. It feels like a soft spring, but this is a daily. And this compared to OEM, it's an upgrade. And but you know, obviously it's not a coilover. So a coilover, it's adjustable dampening, slam it, raise it, all that. This is just one fixed height. But I don't know, I think it's gonna be pretty comfortable. Alright, so finally got everything on. There you go, pretty long spring. I think it's gonna be nice and comfortable. I got the brake line mounted up, fork, bottom bolt, everything's actually tight. I'm actually gonna recheck the bottom ball joint and the upper, because when I got the car, every time it hit a bump, it'll make like a slapping noise. The lower ball joint nut was this close to popping off. I could have messed up the whole front end and crashed. But definitely when I do come and do the brakes, these front rotors don't seem that bad, and the pads either, but they just don't seem right. And I think one of the calipers is sticking, because whenever I'm at doing like what 60 or 70 miles per hour and I step on the brake a little bit and tap it, the car kind of goes to the right. So I'm going to take off both calipers, clean them, and put Honda fluid throughout, and clean everything, CV axles. It should be good. And obviously paint the rotors, paint the calipers, and put everything back new. Put the inner fender also. Alright guys, so I'm a little bit scared at how this thing's gonna turn out. Is it gonna be too high or what? If it's too high, it's okay. I mean, yeah, it is gonna be a daily, but I just don't want it to look too ugly. But this definitely looks like a lowrider, and I'm not scared of that jack stand because I'm not underneath the car, and I have another one right here, so that I use as a backup. So yeah, is this gonna suck or not? Let's just see. So there it is lowered, and man, oh man, I could definitely live with that. That looks sweet. Look at that wheel gap. About 1.5 inches, 2 inches. That looks freaking good. I'm so happy. As I was lowering it, it was almost to the end, and it was like that much wheel gap. And I'm like, every time I'll turn it to lower it, it'll be closing, closing, closing. I'm like, come on, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm already disappointed, a little bit more. As I was doing it, it finally went down, and I'm like, okay, thank God I could live with that. But man, so now it's time to tighten up these bolts. I forgot that, and do the other side, do the rear. I'm gonna do that for another day. And I'm actually thinking about a strut bar, but I don't know any strut bars that'll like look super good on here, so we'll just have to think about that. And it got all dusty from sanding the front end, so it's all gonna come together. But all right, let's go. I'm gonna do the other side real quick. So I want to show you the TruHart versus No Name. And man, when I installed the other side, the driver's side right now of the TruHart, I pushed on the suspension in the front, and it was like this, very, very nice. I'll push on it, and it was just like good dampening. You push on this one, and it's like you can't even push it down. So this is gonna make a really nice daily spring. So now I got it right here, using my little stool. Everything's looking pretty good. So now I'm just gonna bust this one out quick, and then I'm gonna move on to the rear, maybe, but we'll just see. Guys, so one little thing I had to do, I had to put the jack underneath, jack it up a little bit, just so I can put that bushing and the little nut on the sway bar link. And look how like much play that is. Yeah, this is all beat. I gotta get all new stuff for this. But the only reason why I did that was because I had to take this off in order to fit this long spring in, because it pushes everything down. But luckily everything is under preload and it compresses once the body weight is on there. So now that I have it jacked, I could put this bushing and this nut on, and everything's gonna go on there smoothly. Another thing I want to add, those brakes were painted gold, white, blue, and green. You can't see green, maybe you can see a little green, but these brakes were painted about 4 different colors, so that's just terrible. I want to get all this and paint remove all this and you know, just wire wheel it with paint remover, primer, and paint them. It's gonna look so nice. Alright guys, so it's one day later. I'm back doing the suspension. Have the struts right here. I have a bit of weight in the back, so just a bunch of junk and stuff like that, but I'm gonna be swapping out the coilover sleeves for the TruHart lowering spring. So let's see how this goes. Alright guys, so it's gonna be so good to finally get this old suspension out and get it like the front and everything. So man, and this rear rotor, it's pretty dang bad. So let's check out these brakes. Alright guys, so super crusty in here. Has never really seen any attention, just sat up. But yeah, this is what an abandoned car looks like, and just something that was just cruised low and slow and dirty. Rear rotors are bad. It's got a big edge right here. Pads are okay, probably about 60%, but everything should just be replaced. So yeah, so there's that exhaust that I had welded in. Pretty crappy, but it's smooth and quicker off the line. Rear bushing mangled. Everything's just pretty bad, but it works for now. So the main thing is just to get a nicer feel, better handling than this disaster setup. And these things I'm pretty sure are blown. So let me pull these off and get ready to put the lowering springs. Alright guys, there it is, finally out. It's all crusty, so gonna swap in the new spring, pop it in, and let's see how this thing looks like. Alright guys, so major fail. I have these aluminum lower control arms, and they are for a DC. They are not DA, because the DA has smaller lower control arms on the rear with the matching strut, and if you compare that to that, this is the only thing that fits. So I have to use these struts with those springs. But the good thing is that I have to get lower control arms for this car. So when I get the lower control arms, because I don't like the aluminum ones, they're gonna fit this car anyways. So I mean, they're gonna fit these struts, which are good struts. So it's gonna be a matching set. So for now, I just gotta pair it up with this Tokigo blue, and yeah, just gonna have to run this. That freaking blows. Alright guys, so I finally got everything on. Looks pretty good. I had to take off this bolt right here to drop it down more. Since the spring is much taller, it pushes the whole suspension more down, and I wasn't able to push it down far enough to seat it inside. So taking off the upper control arm's good. It drops everything low. Mount it up. You use your little jack to lift it back up, and then you'll be able to bolt it back. And now I'm using this little guy right here. Man, I love this little tool. It's like so convenient. This is good for like little projects for like 14s and stuff, and I use this one for like 17, 19, 20, 24 millimeter fasteners and up, you know, like axles and stuff. But this really takes off the lug nuts like nothing. So yeah, but this thing is very heavy and bulky, so it's like I love it but I hate it. Or not, well, I don't hate it, but you know, it's just like it's not practical. This thing is like pretty light, very light, less than 3 pounds. So all right, so let me put the wheel on and lower it and get to the other side. Alright guys, so there it is right there, and it matches the front nicely. You know, I mean, I thought it was going to be a little bit more raised up, but just the fact that it's even is just what really matters. So let me see, there it is right there. And yeah, so time to do the other one, and I'm just gonna, you know, fly right by that one, and let's see how this thing feels. So this is how the car looks right here. These are with the TruHart lowering springs for the DA9, and the ride is pretty dang good. I need those shocks because it's a little bit bouncy, but it's not stiff and it's not gonna like you know, break your back. So 10 out of 10, 1 out of 10, I'm gonna say it's about a 7 out of 10. And that's pretty dang nice compared to it being 2 out of 10. Yeah, so one thing that I have to do, that's the gap right there. And there was one annoying thing that actually happened, and I'm completely transparent about everything. And yeah, like once I installed the springs, like the last clip that you've seen of the rear, and I put it down, it actually went all the way down, and this right here, yeah, that happened. Freaking masking tape was like flapping in the wind. I forgot it when I painted the car. It was tucking tire. It was right here almost to the rim. I'll put a picture of it right now. So yeah, so that's how it looked. It sagged all the way down, and since it's a lowering spring, you can't really do much. So I kind of got a little bit creative and I ended up raising it. You might be asking, how did you raise it? Well, remember the coil over sleeves? You know, the sleeve part with the actual, you know, those adjusters, the collars? I actually put that, the 2 locking collars, and then the spring, and then I raised it up, and that's how I raised it up. So I'm using the coil over sleeve over, you know, and then the coil over the sleeve. So it came out pretty dang nice. Here, I'll show you. I'll try and get down here. All right, so check this out. There's the sleeve right there, and then there's the spring. So that is not a bad deal right there, and that's how I ended up raising it. And there's the exhaust, it hits, and yeah, I gotta raise it up more, and I'm gonna get the OEM lower control arms. That's how I raised the car up, and right now I love the way it drives. I can finally daily this thing, and it's not bouncing and destroying my spine more than it is. As you can see, there's like a light, we can't see it, but there's a light spot right here, a light spot right there, and this whole fender is you could still kind of see the primer underneath. So along with the bumper, I'm gonna paint all around. I'm gonna mask up the whole car using like this plastic sheet, and then I'm gonna paint the bumper, paint the fender, blend in this spot, blend in another spot. You could see that, yeah, right there. In the sun and in person, you could see it like if you wanted to like really focus on it. And yeah, so that's got to get painted in right there. And then this whole piece has to get painted in right there. And I'm also going to paint a little bit right here. And yeah. And then I'm gonna go for tint, window tint. So that's gonna be kind of cool. I'm gonna clean up all this. I'm gonna do either a 35 or a 45 all the way around. So it's gonna be like a nice transparent dark look. And it's not gonna look all like ghetto or nothing, like, you know, blacked out murdered out car or nothing. So silver wheels, 45% tint with the moldings and painted bumper. It's gonna pretty dang nice. I kind of screwed myself on this side. The paint, it came out very, very nice. I'm very happy with it. It's very, you know, it covered very nice because, you know, there was the blue background behind it. You know, all I did was scuff it, so there was no bleed through or nothing. But the only problem I don't like about this side is just the fact that I didn't do body work. You guys know that I didn't do that much body work. And there's like dings that, let's see, there's one right there. There's a massive one right here. See, yeah, right there. And there's one right here. Well, like, long story short, there's about 25 dings all the way down the side of the car, and you can notice in person, and it kind of bugs me, just due to the fact that this side, it's awful with good paint, and this side is nice body with bad paint, so it's mismatch. So I have both sides to correct, and I'm thinking maybe I could just not care about the dents, but yeah, it kind of bugs me though. Like, I think I should have just did the body work on this thing. But yeah, that's how it looks like in the front. Not bad, not tucking tire or nothing. I took off the lip because I'm gonna paint the bumper, so I'm gonna paint that satin black. I'm gonna paint the molding satin black, and yeah, it's gonna look really, really nice. But yeah, he's so hot right now. But yeah, and he has the sniffles too. Okay, so that's gonna be the little video. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think of the car. And yeah, so I don't know if I can suggest these springs. They're very, very comfortable, but just due to the fact that they sagged overnight and I had to use those sleeves, yeah, I'm not sure if you guys want to go through all that, but they feel really nice and everything's pretty good. I can finally drive the car minus it having no brakes. But yeah, guys, all right, I'll see you.